streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Ron. Now I'd like to introduce Father John, pastor of St. Peter's and Paul Church, who will lead us in an invocation and bless the new school.
I consider myself a representative of all the faiths. So if you're not a Christian or a Catholic, it means no difference. Just we believe in the things that are on this walkway here: fidelity, education, benevolence, and protection. May Christ, the Son of God, who was pleased to be known as the carpenter's son, be with you all, and also with you. A carpenter in those days was also a plumber and a pipe fitter. But they had no unions. So let us pray. Oh God, the fullness of blessings comes down from you. To you our prayers of blessings rise up. In your kindness, protect your servants who stand before you devout and faithful, bearing the tools of their trade. Grant that their hard work may contribute to the perfecting of your creation and provide a decent life for themselves and their families. Help them to strive for our better society and to praise and glorify your holy name always. In your loving providence, O God, you have made the forces of nature subject to the work of our hands. Grant that by devotion to our own work, we may gladly cooperate with you in the building up of creation. And so may Christ the Lord, who for our salvation took on the burden of human toil, continue now to strengthen us with his help and give us his peace now and forever. Amen. Now I'm going to go inside just for a minute, and you can continue and just throw a little bit of holy water around for not only for us, but for the young men and women who practice their trade here and are educated in the trade of plumbing and pipe fitting.
Thank you, Father John. We will now have comments from a few people and then some important introductions. First, I would like to introduce Mike Arndt, who is the Director of Training for the United Association. Mike is in charge of training for every UA union in the United States and Canada. And we are pleased to have him here today to say a few words. Mike?
Well, good afternoon. It's a real pleasure to be here. Nobody trains better than the United Association. And there is no better example of that training than right here in Local 38. Local 38 has one of the finest training facilities in all of the UA, but that wasn't good enough. And that's what continues to make the UA what it is. Locals like Local 38, they weren't going to sit down and just say, well, we've got the best. They're going to make sure that they continue to get better, that they make sure that they continue to have the best training. And that's the policy of the United Association. And Local 38's members should be very proud of their leadership, that they're able to lead them down this road. I was reading through this little booklet here before I came up. It gives a little history of training in the United Association. It mentions the ITF board, which runs all the training, the dime fund and everything. It mentions that Larry Mazzola Jr. is a member of that board. What it doesn't mention is that when that board was started, Larry Mazzola Sr. was one of the founding members and the chairman for most of the life of that board, and has worked very hard, not only here in his local, in Local 38, to make sure that training is as good as it is, but has worked very hard all over the UA through the ITF to make sure that all locals train like his local. His leadership goes beyond anything that we can thank him for. And I do want to thank you at this time, Larry, not only for all you do here in Local 38, but all you have done for the United Association, and especially in the training. And I have been very proud to work with you over these years. And I'm just as proud to work with Larry Mazzola Jr. now on the ITF board. It's what we're all about. This is it. We have one thing to sell. That's ourselves. We don't make anything. We have our skills to sell in the United Association. And we have to make sure that those skills are always better than anybody else. And that's what they do here in Local 38. They set the bar and they continually raise the bar and make sure that they are the best. And for that, congratulations to all of you. You've done a fantastic job, and I'm very proud to be here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Next, I'm honored to introduce the Mayor of San Francisco, Mayor Ed Lee. Although he has only been mayor for a short time, he is doing everything he can in his power to get San Franciscans back to work. He is a big proponent of training, and I thank you, Mr. Lee, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Ed Lee.
Thank you, Larry, and Larry Sr. and Brother Arndt. Welcome to San Francisco. Thank you, everybody, for coming this morning. I'd like to just let you know how honored I am to be part of this announcement today for this great training center, and to join Senator Yee and Assemblywoman Fiona Ma and Malia Cohen, our supervisor here, and former supervisor Michaela Alioto here, and join all of you and the Labor Council, people from all walks of life, from business and labor, to join on a celebration, a wonderful celebration right here in the Bayview. You know, you're going to hear a lot of people comment about why you named this Joe Mazzola Center. But there's a very, very good reason. And it's one of those rare opportunities that I will say to Larry that actually I wish I was older. Because in those years, in the 50s and 60s, is when we could have met the great man of Joe Mazzola. And to watch him do the kind of wonderful things he did for San Francisco and for all the labor union people and working men and women, how he helped them get jobs and get training and to participate in one of the greatest unions in this city. But I also let you know that in my younger years, I have gotten to meet Larry and now Steve, and seeing them take up the mantle of their father and great-grandfather, to see how they have been doing it here in San Francisco. And I also want to let you know, too, that the center, its location being just a couple of blocks between our Bayview Police Station, I know Captain is here, good to see you, Captain Signell, and our Housing Authority, who's got a lot of work here. Thank you, Henry, and your wonderful staff for being here. Right here in the middle is where a lot of good training is going to take place. You know, for this city, we passed a new ordinance called the Local Hire Ordinance, and I know Larry has had a lot of good comments about and advice to the city about how that should work. But you know, one thing that we do have an agreement on, it isn't so much about the ordinances that we pass, as what we do to promote hiring of people. And this center, I think, Larry, is one of the most important things that we've ever done to exhibit how we hire people and how we train people. This center's got the most modern training facilities here. It's got all the wonderful modern things you do here. It's even got how to rig up new things and how to put new boiler systems in. It's going to train generations of people that will work on our Trans-Bay Terminal, will work in our America's Cup, all of the different improvements that we're going to do. And I, as the author of the new capital infrastructure planning for the city, I'll know that this training center will be here to train generations of people to be the best plumbers and pipe fitters and to participate in the quality of life that you're offering right here when they get trained. So Larry, you know, we're beyond words here today, because we see here as a testament, it's not just an ordinance that we believe in, it's really the belief that people can train themselves to better their lives. And this training center represents that. So on behalf of the city and county of San Francisco, I want to give you our plaque and to suggest today, to announce today being Joseph Mazzola Training Center Day in San Francisco. Thank you very much. Come on up, Larry. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would now like to introduce the supervisor of District 10, Malia Cohen. Our school is in the district she represents, and Malia, we thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Good morning, good morning. It's a great day. Happy Joseph Mazzola Training Center building opening day. Quite a mouthful, but it's definitely a day that's going to go down in history. And I'm here to welcome you back to District 10. I know many of you have been here before. Don't worry, I put an order in for sun. It's coming. It's a little bit late, but I'm just here to express my my heartfelt gratitude for your hard work and your leadership over the years. Back in my younger days, that was a joke. So you guys will be driving home when you get that joke. Back in my younger days last year, when I first sat in front of Mr. Mazzola, he was straight. He was to the front, straight and to the point, saying, "Do you think you could win?" And for those of you that don't know, we had a very hot and heated and contested race last year in the District 10 race. There were a total of 22 candidates, and after about an hour, I must have done something. I said the right things, and I think we had a moment where we saw things eye to eye, and I was able to win his support, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you very much. And so it's actually very appropriate that you have the center here, the state-of-the-art center here inside District 10, because this is the beginning and, frankly, the end of all development that's going to be happening in the city and county of San Francisco. It's at this point, and we're going to be emanating outwards to the southern parts in Visitation Valley, but as well as further north, all along 3rd Street. We've got development happening at Alice Griffith, at Hunter's View, and Potrero Hill. This is the precipice. This is the point where labor, business, and local government leaders are going to come together to continue to move San Francisco into the 21st century. And it's actually going to happen, training is going to happen right here at this facility. So it's very appropriate that we're here. Thank you very much for making an investment in our community. And I want to also say thank you to our many other brothers and sisters that are here with us today from labor, because it's not just a it's not just a fight or a struggle that we as elected leaders can take up on our own. It actually is a united fight that we need labor's consistent and thoughtful help as we continue to walk forward to transform this great city. And we will be and continue to be a world-class city that's going to be providing jobs and work and opportunity for everyone, every person at this table. There's room at this table for everyone. And as we continue to gear up and go into a pretty heated election cycle, I want to encourage you to to stay the course and to stay focused and continue to look at the big picture. And the big picture is to make sure that the local economy here in the city and county of San Francisco thrives. And it's going to start right here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Malia. I would now like to introduce Local 38's Training Coordinator, Steve Mazzola. Steve has been a training coordinator for Local 38 for the last 9 years and has been working on this project for the last 2 years, meeting with the architect twice a week, what seemed like more than that, meeting with the general contractor countless times, and making sure that the school had the newest state-of-the-art training devices to keep up to today's standards. Thank you, Steve, for all of your hard work in ensuring that this school had the best to offer all of Local 38 apprentices. Steve?
Thank you for that kind introduction. I'd like to welcome everyone here today to our grand opening of our new training center. And thank you for attending this important day for Local 38. There are a lot of people to thank today for the results that you're going to see here in the building, but none more than business manager Larry Mazzola. Without him, we would not be standing here today, and I would like to give Larry a round of applause and say thank you for doing all your hard work for this. Next, I'd like to thank general contractor Nibby Brothers and their construction team of Greg Narvik, Logan Daniels, and John Lee. I'd like to thank all the subcontractors who work on the project, notably Local 38 signatory contractors Broadway Mechanical and Priebus Engineering. I'd like to thank CAS Architects and the team of Anthony Matisi and Michelle Chadwick. All of our Local 38 instructors gave their input onto the design of the school. There's a few here, though, that I would like to give special thanks to. Instructor Rich Beaumont, I saw him over here, who assisted on the design of the HVAC equipment and labs. I thank you, Rich, for all your help with that. Seb Wodarczyk was the plumbing foreman for Broadway Mechanical on this building, also our instructor, and did a fantastic, sincerely fantastic job on the plumbing in the facility. Thank you, Seb. Thank you very much. Steve Kosterus is our ATR CWI welding instructor, and he set up the whole welding shop as you'll see it, and it came out terrific, and I'd like to thank Steve as well. Thank you, Steve. I'd also like to thank curriculum coordinator Liam Devlin for all his work and input on the project and helping to get everything set up. I also see my friend Tom Irvine, who during the early stages of development of this project was very involved in some terrific ideas for the school. So thank you, Tom, as well for that. I'd like to thank office professional Nicole Figueroa for her hard work, and to Sandra Fullerton, who filled in for her while Nicole was on her maternity leave. Thanks to all the Local 38 members who worked on the move-in and setup crews. Thanks also to the Local 38 members that volunteered their time and experience. I would also like to today acknowledge the United Association, the International Training Fund, the Local 38 JATC, and the Local 38 Board of Trustees. I am pleased to say that although this was a guarantee, that I'm proud to say that this project was completed using 100% union labor. I'd like to thank all the union brothers and sisters that worked on this project. I'm also pleased to say that we specified for the project that all construction materials be made in the USA, and I'm pleased to say that today as well. I'm also pleased to announce that we received the LEED Silver certification for our building as well. This is a proud day for Local 38. This is a proud day for Local 38 and for training. It was an honor for me to work as the owner's representative during construction. It was an experience I'll never forget. Thank you again for coming, and please enjoy our grand opening. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you for stealing the rest of my speech. But I may do a few people twice here, but I want to say a few things here. We're done with the speeches. We just want to recognize some people, and then we'll have the walkthrough. But I also want to thank Local 38 Curriculum Coordinator Liam Devlin. Liam, stand up for a second. Liam did an outstanding job constantly. He does an outstanding job constantly upgrading our curriculum so as to encompass all the new changes and certifications of our industry, which change all the time. Liam also was a big help to Steve in overseeing this new school project and was very instrumental in getting it ready for today. And he even had some great ideas for the shop downstairs, which you'll see in a few minutes. Liam, you worked really close with Steve and hard on this project. I want to thank you both again. I would also like to thank former Local 38 Training Coordinator Dan Kennedy, who was a training coordinator at Local 38 for 25 years. We want to thank you for your contributions over the year. I'm not sure if he's here, but Dan Kennedy, thank you. Steve thanked Tom Irvine. I'd like to also thank Tom. I had a chance to work with Tom when he was a curriculum coordinator. He did a great job in San Francisco and in our school in Santa Rosa. Thank you, Tom. A special thanks to District Council 36 Trust Fund for loaning us the money to build this school. Without them, this would not have happened, and I want to recognize the trustees that I think they're all here. From Labor is Bob Jennings from Local 246, Bill Taylor from Local 442, Steve MacArthur from Local 62, and Mark Mulliner from Local 228. The management side of the board is John McCracken from Frank Booth Company, Lou Stillwell from Chargon Plumbing, Matt Texeria from Lyles Mechanical, Scott Strawbridge from the MCA, and James Wilson from George Wilson, Inc. And I got to tell you guys, if we knew it was legal to borrow money from other unions, we would have done it a long time ago. And we'll be back. I also want to thank Local 38's Board of Trustees for all their efforts in making this reality, and I'll introduce them. I'm the chairman of the board on the labor side, obviously. All the other labor trustees are Steve Jennings, Frank Reardon, Tony Gazzetta, Bill Blackwell, and John Carenza. Thank you. On the management side, the co-chairman is Scott Strawbridge from the MCA, Milt Goodman from ACO, Fred Narisso from Broadway Mechanical, Bob Buckley Jr. from Anderson Rowan Buckley, Armand Collegian from O'Brien Mechanical, and Dan Orsott from OMPP. Thank you for everything you did and all your powers to make this happen. I also want to thank the members of the Local 38 Joint Apprenticeship Committee. On the labor side, we have Chairman Bill Blackwell. We have Tony Gazzetta, John Carenza, Frank Reardon, and R.J. Ferrari. On the management side is Bob Buckley Jr. from AR&B, Ron Fay from Fay Plumbing, Kevin Caracciolo from Bayline Mechanical, Kevin Merkovich from Western Plumbing and Heating, and Raul Galvin from the Division of State Apprenticeship Standards. Thank you for guiding this program and for all your input in a new school. I would also like to recognize Pete Mackey, Local 38 Trust Administrator, for his hard work with the loan and help during the process. Thank you, Pete. I want to thank our trust fund lawyers that were involved in making sure everything was legal and on the up and up. Al Brundage and Jim Baker. Thank you, guys. Steve already thanked Nibby, but I want to also thank Nibby Brothers, Larry and Bob Nibby. You guys did a great job. The building looks great, and you did use union subcontractors, and we appreciate that, especially the plumbing and heating. Steve also acknowledged the Narissos, who did the mechanical on this job, Bob and Fred, thank you guys very much. You guys did an outstanding job, and you should be proud of it with all Local 38 journeymen and apprentices. Thank you. And Kenny's here, too. Steve also mentioned this, but Priebus Engineering, Bayardo Chamorro is here. Thank you, Bayardo, for installing the fire protection system that we hope never gets used. And Steve also mentioned the architect, but I will too. CAS architect, Anthony Matisse, Michelle Chadwick. They work closely with the Local 38 and Nibby Brothers and helped us obtain all of our permits. Thank you guys very much. Okay, other friends of Local 38 that came today, and we would have them all speak, but we'd be here for 4 hours, so we decided just to introduce them. From District 8 Supervisor, Scott Wiener. Scott here? We'll give him a round of applause anyways. Assemblywoman Fiona Ma, thank you very much for coming, and she also brought us a proclamation. Thank you for that, and it's inside, but you'll see it when you go in. State Senator Mark Leno was not able to be here, although he did send a proclamation too. We want to thank Mark Leno for doing that. Thank you, Mark. We also have former supervisor from District 2, Michaela Aliotto Peer here. Michaela, thank you for being here. And we also have with us State Senator Leland Yee. Leland, thank you for being here. He also brought a resolution for us, and that is also inside, and thank you for that. We appreciate it. I think the mayor mentioned the Bayview Police Station, which is our neighbor to the left. We want to thank them. We want to thank Captain Paul Chignell for everything you did getting it ready for today. And we want to thank you for keeping an eye on our building and our apprentices. Thank you. And he also mentioned our neighbors to the right, the San Francisco Housing Authority. You could have heard this if you sat in your office. Henry Alvarez, Roger Crawford, and Tim Larson. After you see how nice our school is, I'm sure you'll want to hire about 100 apprentices. Right, Henry? I'm holding you to it. I also want to thank Knight's Catering for providing today's lunch. They are one, if not the only union catering company left in San Francisco. Thank you, Knight's Catering. Okay, the UA National Training Fund was originally set up at 5 cents per hour contribution for every hour worked by every UA member, and has recently been raised to 10 cents. This ERISA Trust Fund gives grants to every apprenticeship program in the United States, which is approximately 280 programs. And these grants are used for computers, equipment, rigging structures, and new training devices. And Local 38 is thankful to have the help of these grants for our new school. And I'd like to introduce the board. I'm proud to say that I'm a member, like Mike said earlier. Also on the labor side is Tom Bigley from Local 27, Tom Collins from Local 281, Ken Arecchia, VP District 1, Jim Kehoe from Local 322, and John Bodine from Local 669. Thank you, guys. On the management side of the ITF fund is Bob Armistead from the MCA, Bob Melko from PHCC, Frank Norton from MSCA, Neil Cahill from NFSA, Mike Cables from Kinetics, and Don Batts from MSCA. Thank you guys very much. And it's a pleasure working alongside you guys. Speaking of the International Training Fund, I would like to recognize the person who was responsible for originally starting this fund over 12 years ago, retired UA General President Marty Mataloni. Marty, thank you for being here. I also want to recognize retired UA Secretary Treasurer Tom Pachel. Thank you for being here, Tom. All right, we're coming to the end of the program here. So I'd like to call on Larry Mazzola Sr., the Business Manager and Financial Secretary Treasurer of Local 38, to say a few words and end the program. But before he speaks, I'd like to thank him for spearheading this idea. His determination and hard work made this school possible. He has always been a huge proponent of training. He started out in Local 38 as the Assistant Apprenticeship Coordinator. And like Mike says, he sat on the International Training Fund since its inception for the last 10 years. You know, his record speaks for itself with all that he has accomplished over the last 22 years as business manager. But I think even he would agree that this school is one of his proudest accomplishments. And I welcome you, Larry Mazzola Sr.
You know, I didn't know you had to born people to have them say good things about you, you know. This looks like a Larry Mazzola day, and I'm sorry for that, but because it's really a Joe Mazzola day. And although I am pushy, I do push the envelope, you know, and some of you can attest to that. So it took us 7 years for this project, and without District Council 36 coming to the plate and lending us the money, we would have never gotten it done. I really thank you very much for that. So anyway, this program is over. I know you're cold out there. We're going to cut a piece of pipe instead of the ribbon. As soon as we cut the piece of pipe, we'll go in and tour the building. And please, you know, there's 3 floors. Please take your time. Lunch is out and back. There's tables for lunch. If you can stay for lunch, please do. And read this a little bit about Joe Mazzola. I know none of you, or not many of you, know Joe Mazzola, but he truly stood for education. He only went to the 4th grade himself. He then rode freight trains 4 times from New York to the West Coast, ended up here in San Francisco. But because he always thought that the working stiff should have as much education for their children and vacations and kids camps and those things as the rich, he did that. He started a kids camp for our members. He started scholarship funds for our members. He built the school on Market Street, of which we now moved to here. And this is really his school and his idea. Thank you for coming to celebrate it with us. Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, if you and Mike aren't, Mike, if you guys could cut the pipe ribbon, whatever we want to call it.
All right. I passed my class.
There you go. You're
You're an apprentice.
Mayor Leo now says he's a plumber, I think.
I get a higher wage.
All right, the ribbon has been cut. We're officially open for 240 apprentices and 1,200 journeymen that do journeyman upgrade training also. Okay, head in and please tour the place.